Hello, it's Naomi Jerez, food and health coach. I'm just hopping on here while I prepare my protein shake after the gym, in case you guys have any questions. I usually do a bunch of stories, but I was like, let me come on and see if anybody has questions I can answer for them. Welcome. I'm hopping on to see if you guys have any questions while I prepare my protein shake after the gym. Going to the gym is great. And also, it is very important to also, feed yourself appropriately, right? You can't outwork poor diet, or you can't maintain a good fitness routine, or you can't maintain, your activity levels if you're not fueling appropriately. So something that I do is I bring my protein shake with me so that I can have it as soon as, here's what I have going on. I bring my water here and the protein powder here. I don't like to let it just sit there because it gets really thick and then it's like hard to drink. So I just bring it like this and I prepare it. So if you guys have questions as I do this, I am here. One thing I did want to chat about quickly is how we make pretend we're not human, right? Like, we make human problems such a big deal. And that has a lot to do with mind management, right? Like, we make human problems such a huge deal. And by that I mean, like, let's say a lot of people get hung up on, the best time, like when they felt their absolute best, whether that was 15 years ago, 5 years ago, or whatever it was. And then there's like a bunch of stuff that happens in their lives. Life stuff, like they move, they have kids, there's stressful situations going on in their family, the pandemic, all this. And then your body adjusts to what's going on, right? Because you're human, you're not like a machine. Even machines like change. And then it becomes such a big problem where you're like, what's wrong with me? I've gained weight. I don't feel good anymore. My clothes doesn't fit. And we focus on that instead of, oh my gosh, my body was adjusting to all these different transitions that was going on in my life. And I get to now do the work to bring myself back to where I was, right? Or to help myself get to a place where I feel really good, because most of the time is the way that you feel that's a problem, not necessarily, and the way that you look too, but it goes hand in hand. So we stay stuck on 20 years ago, 10 years ago, when I was in college, when I was in high school. Ma'am, if you're in high school and you're 30 something now after kids, you're not going to look the same like you were a kid. Like, you're a woman now. You're doing womanly things with your body, right? So let's stop making human problems a big deal, because they have you stuck and they have you in a place where you can't just move forward and take action the same way that your body changed before to support you in whatever life transition you were going through. The same way you can do the work to bring it to where you want it to be now. It's just getting your mindset to go from that place, from letting go of what was and taking action on the present time and what you can do now to help yourself, right? And I'll give you an example of myself where life happened, my body changed. And yeah, like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I was sad, but I'll tell you why. And then I got to just do the work and bring it back. So or a little over a year ago, my son broke his arm. and his elbow, like, it was just destroyed. It was very stressful. He had pins in there. He had to get surgery twice and all that. And I was in survival mode, like the whole family was, because he all of a sudden couldn't do a lot of things on his own. He couldn't use the bathroom by himself, brush his teeth. Like, there was just a bunch of stuff, right? Because he had like an arm, and it took him a while to get used to just functioning with one arm. A week after he broke his arm, I got a concussion myself. I ended up in the hospital. My doctor was like, you cannot do any exercise, nothing, right? Like, I really had to rest, because that's usually how you heal brain injuries, and having a concussion is very serious. So it was the longest amount of time in the 5 years then that I had started my wellness journey that I wasn't moving. I was purely resting. I was taking care of my son, and I really wasn't paying that much attention to what I was eating, because I was in survival mode. I didn't have time to make things. I didn't have time to buy things. So I literally had to buy whatever was around me. And all of this was in the Dominican Republic, okay? So the hospital cafeteria had like pastelitos, bolas de papa, quipes, and rice and beans. Everything was like deep fried. And you know, it was food like that, and I just didn't make this a big deal. So when I came back home, and I noticed like my clothes started to fit tighter, like my everything, like I just noticed that my body was changing, and I didn't make a big deal out of it, because I knew why that was happening. And I was just sitting there eating a freaking guayaba and queso croissant, because I freaking love that, and I needed some comfort, and I literally just sat there and ate, and it was fine. And then when I came back home, I was like, okay, well, let me weigh myself to see what the baseline is, because now I can get back to my normal routine. I was expecting that I had gained about 10 pounds at least, right? Because of the way my clothes was fitting. I lost 9 pounds. Lost 9 pounds. My clothes was fitting tighter, and I was devastated to see the scale go down and my clothes fit tighter. You know why? Because that meant that my body composition changed, and I lost so much muscle, and I gained so much fat. And fat weighs less than muscle. So I'd rather be a whole 10 pounds heavier of muscle weight versus fat weight. And I literally almost cried, and I was like, okay, I just have to get back to this. These are life problems, right? I don't need to take it so personal. I don't need to beat myself up over it. I just need to get back to what I know works, and what I know my regular routine is after I'm dealing and come out of survival mode. There's no reason to bash yourself over that, to yearn and want to be like, oh my gosh, a year ago, oh my gosh, 2 years ago. It's gone. It's gone, and you can do the work. You're so freaking lucky that you still can move, right? That you still can move, that you can still put in the work again. Why are you so hung up on these pastimes and making human problems such a big deal? So what did I do? I went back to the gym. I started working out. What happened? I was so freaking weak. Whereas before I was lifting and my endurance and my strength and was like up here. Now it was like, whoop. And it's like, okay, I get to build that back up. I know I could do it. I've been there before. I just need to keep working on it so that I get myself back up there. And guess what? Your body has a lot of muscle memory. So you think you're starting from like way at the bottom in the beginning, but you're really not. It takes a lot less time to bounce back. Right? If you remain consistent, it takes less time to bounce back. So that's exactly what happened. And I just started going about my business again. But if I would have stood hung up on, oh, I can't do this. 2 years ago, I was like, look like this. Your circumstance is not the same. Life is always throwing things at you. So Don't make these human problems a big deal. You can still work on them. Don't make pretend that you're not a human person with human problems, with a human body that's going to adjust to the situations to keep you safe. What you need to know is that you always have control. And whether the control in the moment is that you're in survival and you're just going to feed yourself and do whatever you can to deal with the situation, that's one form of control. And then it's like knowing that you can get back to whatever it was that you were doing after the situation subsides. Or you find a different way of doing what you want to do with the schedule changes. Like when the kids go back to school, your schedule changes. The summertime, your schedule changes. Don't make pretend you're not part of nature either and the seasons don't affect you. Okay? It's tough. Like this, me getting up and going to the gym when it's like 25, it feels like 25 degrees outside, is a different brain switch because it's not as easy as when it's nice and warm. At least it's sunny, right? As when it's nice and warm and I just get to walk out of my house with none of this stuff on. I had to find my ugly hat for my sweaty head and warm up the car and all these things. All right. So I completely lost my train of thought. Anyway, don't make these things. Oh, I was saying, don't make pretend you're not part of nature either. Right? A lot of people get hung up on, oh, I gain weight in the winter. Well, we're mammals. Mammals hibernate. Mammals get fattier to survive in the cold. All these things. So you are also part of nature. Everything has a season. If you see animals, if you see trees, if you see all that, they have this rhythm and they have this routine that goes along with the changing seasons. And you're not any different. You're not any different. Especially if... So what sets us apart is the mindset. What sets us apart is the mindset. So you either go along with nature in the routine and the rhythm that everything goes, or you can tighten the reins a little bit more because you have this that can help you out. So I could have stayed like a little bear in my nice bed under my sheets, nice and warm, or I know my mindset and I'm like, nope, I want these results. This cold weather, I don't like it, but it's not a big deal. I just go along with the flow of, oh, it paused due to poor connection, of getting things done, and that's it. And guess what? The lesson that I keep learning over and over and over and over again, I never regret it. But that's a training of the mind, where that, as mammals, is how we have the upper hand and what distinguishes us compared to all other human forms. All right? If you guys have any questions, I hopped on here because I was making my protein shake that I completely forgot about. And I was like, let me just hop on to see if people have questions of whatever they might have been thinking of. But if not, then I'll just let you guys go, because then I really had wanted to talk about this for a while anyway, about how we just get so stuck on making human problems such a big deal and then thinking that we cannot change that, right? It's always a flow of going with your circumstance, whatever's going on in your life, because sometimes we don't have a lot of control over that, but we do get to decide how we're reacting to that and the actions that we're taking. And sometimes the action is going with the flow of that and not making it a big deal. Eating the pastelitos, eating the quipes, eating the bolas de papa, eating the guayaba croissant until you can go back to baseline, right? Because life is always like a roller coaster. Up and down, up and down, up and down. And the more you get to practice and learn how to pivot in those moments, and learn what you need for yourself and what's important to you, then I don't want to say the easier it gets, because there's always a new challenge So I don't really want to say it gets easier, but you learn how to catch on to your brain a lot quicker and control your nervous system a lot faster, so that every single time something like that happens, you don't spin out and you don't get, completely thrown off. But expect that to happen the first few times because you're learning, and that's all right. All right, I'm gonna go. I'll post this and you guys get to ask your questions on the post if you guys want. Again, my name is Naomi, food and health coach. I do one-on-one 6 months coaching for women of color who want to take back control of their nutrition, get their health back in order, lose weight without dieting. 6 months of personalized one-on-one weekly calls, so you can literally learn about yourself, work on that mindset with the strategy with food education. So you guys are welcome, and I invite you to book a consultation call with the link in my bio. And if you're watching this before November 22nd, today is the 19th, I'm hosting a free workshop on Tuesday, November 22nd at 7 p.m. Eastern time on how to eat with confidence during the holidays. It was a 2-part series. Last Tuesday, I did food labels, but you didn't have to be in day 1 or part 1 to really learn and get the information in part 2. All right, this Tuesday. So the link is also in my bio, so you can register. And you have 2 options. There's a free $99 one where I'm pouring so much love and information into the presentation. And then if you really know, like, oh my gosh, I need the one-on-one attention. I have tried 50 billion diets in the past, and I have been starting 50 times over on how to care for my health, and I really want to get control over that, then I invite you to book a consultation as well. And we can get started with that. If you guys missed the beginning, I really encourage you to listen to the replay that I'll be posting. I spoke about not making human issues a problem, not making human problems. That doesn't even make sense. And how we are actually part of nature, and we make this such a big deal and such a big problem. All right. So go listen back to that, because hopefully it'll bring you down from the wall edge of wanting to jump off and not knowing what to do. It'll hopefully bring some perspective to you. Okay. I love y'all so much. I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.